Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm bringing to you another episode of Wargaming in Miniature. And today what we're going to do is we're going to be assembling the Regult Battle Pod, Tactical Battle Pod from Robotech RPG Tactics, the miniatures game. And this is the Regult Tactical. Okay, it's not really zoomed in on that very well. That's the Regult, yeah, you won't ever see it. Okay, well this is just an assembled version of it. Okay, it's the Regult Tactical Battle Pod. Now, I've already trimmed and I've cut them off the sprue and I've trimmed them already. And that only took me about 15 minutes because there's not that many parts, as you can see, with the Regult Battle Pod. So what I'm going to do today is something special. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record nonstop without any editing so that you can actually see the exact amount of time it takes me to assemble this. And I'm not going to be going at any Mach speed or anything. I'm just going to be casually assembling this battle pod and trying to keep you entertained as I go. So here we go. Let's get started. Now what I'm going to start with is, and if it comes off the screen, I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to do this unedited with no camera work or anything. Just trying to get it done so you get a feel of how long it actually takes. All right, so I've taken the main torso, applying glue. It does have a pin and hole setup, and on the bottom of it, there is like a little disc that when you put the back of the battle pod, ooh, what's wrong with this? Oh, okay. And when you put the back of the battle pod on there, make sure you tuck it underneath the disc so the disc's not interfered with. Okay, and once the two are put together, you just hold it for a few seconds. I'm not even going to go with the full 20 seconds. I'm just going to set it off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the legs together. I'm going to put the legs on the feet. And if you can see from the running version of it, that was not intentional. It was definitely not intentional. Once I started putting the legs together, it just fell into place like that. I'm going to try to make this one that's just, oh yeah, this one looks like it's going to work good. I'm going to try to make this one where it's just standing upright on the base and not jogging like that one. It's just the way the feet, the legs fit into the feet. There is a pin right there that just goes in the hole. Be sure to put the wide part of the foot or the heel forward so that it's kind of pigeon-toed a little bit. So there should be the toe and then the heel of the foot. Put that in there, down to a few seconds. Oh, okay, this one's not drying super fast, so let's go ahead and hold it. While I do that, get a drink. And I'm filming this on Wednesday, which is the day before Thanksgiving, so I want to just let everyone know, Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're all, you and your family are going to have a great day. Okay, I'm going to set that off to the side and let that dry. Whoa, just threw it over there. Okay, for some reason, this one, I must have put too much glue on it or something, because it's not drying. So I'm just going to hold it, give it a little blow. Hopefully that'll help its drying process. And then if I have to, I'll set it up against something like a box or something to let it dry in place. Okay. So now we got the torso. Now I want to put the two halves of the lower torso together. Now this one's a little bit different than the Recon Battle Pod in the fact that this one does have a little pin, a tab, or a bump that actually goes into the bottom of your main torso. But other than that, it's exactly the same as the Recon Battle Pod. And you still have to kind of align it together because even though there is one pin in the middle, it rolls on that. So you got to kind of line it up, line the outside edges up so there's no sprue lines. Okay, we'll let that dry just for a few seconds. Okay, so we're not going to let everything dry just for a few seconds. No, we're not. We're going to the main torso, and I'm going to put the side walls on. So I don't know if you can see that. There you go. We put some glue around the, what you might consider arms, but it doesn't really have any arms. And you put the vent from the arms facing downward. Okay. Now let's do it to the other side. Remember, neither side is dried yet. Once I get the left and the right put on, then I will squeeze them both together to make a center torso or solid torso. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to let that kind of ride. And while that's riding, what we're going to do is we're going to put the hip joint portion of the torso, which seems to be dry just fine. We're going to put that in this little hole in the bottom of the torso. Oh, excuse me. It's that tea. Alright, so now let's apply a little glue. Find the bottom. Put it in place. Okay, what does it rock? Shouldn't be rocking like that. Definitely should not be rocking. Okay, when I glued the two halves together, what happened was it didn't line up exactly perfect. So what happened is you got one side higher than the other. Causing it to be unbalanced when it's trying to get on the torso, so it rocked left and right. I didn't want that because that means there's not going to be a good seal on the glue. It's not going to, oh, there you go. No rocking now. Okay, so now we just hold it and let it rest for a moment. Okay, so we put that down. Just let that rest. Still have the lasers. I'm going to glue those on last. We've got the legs. Oh, let's grab a base. And a base. Okay, so we're just going to let that sit just for a few minutes. Or not minutes, but moments. As you might already know, you get 3 battle pods on a sprue, and I'm saving the last battle pod on this sprue. We're going to do a different video for that one. This one is the one that has the jump trail, you know, the little rocket engine thrust trail that lifts it up off the base, and the legs are a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this one separately in a different video. So it looks like you get a running, a standing, and a jumping one on each sprue. That's what I'm kind of gathering. Okay, let's see if the lower torso is dry enough to hold its own. It kind of is. Okay, so then we grab our two legs, right? And we're going to put a little glue along both sides of the hip joint, because we're going to do both legs at the same time. 1, 2. Okay, this being the front. Okay, gotta go like that. And like that. Okay, so I got both of my feet glued to the hip. Now I've got to twist the legs down and the body up to make it look like it's actually standing up and not tipping over. And of course everything wants to fall apart. A little confused on these legs because they're so close together that the ankles hit, so you've got to kind of put it where the ankles are just touching each other. And then just kind of like, just hold it there and let the glue dry it. Yeah, none of these really want to just stand upward. Okay, we're going to let that dry just for a moment. You notice how the feet aren't sitting just right on the base. I can work with that because when I put the flock and the rubble on the gravel and stuff like that on the base, I can disguise that. That's not a problem. But I wish it would have just stood up straight, because now it's concerning me. Maybe if I put one of those legs with one of these legs, maybe that's what you're supposed to do. But they come in sets of 2, and so I just kept them in the same sets. I'll experiment as I do more of these, because I got 24 of them I've got to do. Okay, so let's glue the legs down onto the base. That'll help secure them. Okay, we're going to let that dry just for a minute. Oh, he looks kind of like he's about to fall over, doesn't he? Or is that just the angle? Yeah. It's like he's getting ready to take a step with his right foot. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to glue the anti-air lasers on the back of his head. So what we do is we put a couple of drops of, or one drop of glue on his back little turret area. Now, there's two ways that this can go on. It could go on with the lasers laying back a little bit, or it could go on with the lasers pointing up. So what I do is I put it on with the lasers laying back a little bit. Just like that with the lasers heading this way. Alright, now there's only 4 more pieces left. It's the 2 larger lasers and the 2 smaller lasers. So what I'm going to, and there's 4 holes. One, you can see them right there. There's one. There's one right there. There's 2 right there. And these all just glue into those holes. And I'm just giving it a few seconds to make sure that everything's good. Give it a little blow. Airflow. Okay, and I'm going to put 4 drops of glue because these all go on pretty quickly. 1 in each hole. There's what, 1, 2, and these 2 at the very base of the chin. Okay, so they all have a glue drop in them. And then we'll take the 2 big ones. Now you can angle these in any direction that they'll fit. If you want them facing forward, that's great. If you want them facing outwards or around, I recommend randomizing your lasers. They could be facing in any direction that you see fit. Every one of them should be different. It makes every model unique. If you have them all facing in the same direction, then all the models will look exactly the same. Okay, and when you put the smaller lasers in there, the laser comes out on a ball. Now that ball is off-centered, so you want to make sure that the laser is closer to the center of the torso and the majority of the ball is on the outside. Whoa. That looks good. Give it a little blow. Give it a few seconds to dry up. It's finished. I'm just waiting for it to dry. What I do is I put my hand on here so that it'll focus properly. But you can see how I got the lasers on the front and the lasers on the top, the arms of the vents pointing downward, the legs. You notice how this one leg isn't glued completely onto the base properly. You know. But that'll come with flock and everything. It'll cover and disguise that. Okay, so let's compare these 2 Regults with some of the other models that I've already put together, like the Recon ones. Right, there's a Recon here. Let's push this guy off to the side. There's the Recon Regult. And then there's the Glaug officer pod, or whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, all the battle pods are a little bit larger than the UEDF models. You know, they're all a little bit smaller. Micronians. Alright, and that's the Regult Battle Pod. And thanks for coming out and checking out this video. And again, have a happy Thanksgiving. And catch you on the next one.